Morning, everybody, and welcome. Happy Wednesday. We're just going to give it a minute here to let attendees join, and then we'll get things started. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dylan Reed, Construction Success Manager here at Fieldwire. I just want to thank you for joining us today for our live webinar on service work and small projects. To kick things off, just a couple of housekeeping announcements. This webinar will be recorded, and a copy of the recording along with the slide deck will be emailed to everyone at the end of the session. To keep things on track, everyone will be muted, but if you have any comments or questions, just go ahead and put those into the Q&A pan. Questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation during our Q&A part of the session. And we'll try to do our best to get to all of your questions, but for any questions that we don't address during the session, we'll have one of our experts reach out to you directly. We also have a couple poll questions that will pop up at a couple different points within the webinar. So just go ahead and fill those out when they pop up. And then we'll also have a quick post-webinar survey that will pop up at the end of the presentation. And if you could just take a minute or two to fill that out, that really lets us know how we're doing and how we can plan content for upcoming webinars. With that, I'd like to introduce you to your speaker and construction expert, Hannah-Laura Claus. Hannah-Laura, you can take it away from here.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah-Laura Claus, and I'm part of the construction success team here at Fieldwire. Have about 5 years of experience prior to Fieldwire working with a specialty subcontractor, really helping managing our install and install teams, and handling our contracts as well with our subcontractors, and then also with GC and owners. And today, just really super excited to talk to you about utilizing Fieldwire for something that maybe you or your teams hadn't thought about utilizing Fieldwire for, which is smaller projects or post-construction workflows such as service or maintenance and warranty work. So by the end of the webinar, just want you guys to understand the flexibility that Fieldwire can offer in managing this type of work, and that really the sky is the limit there. Yeah, so before we get into agenda and get rolling, just a quick poll question here on, what type of company you work for, whether that be a GC, subcontractor, etc. Awesome, thanks guys for that. So just hopping into a brief agenda. I'll go over a brief overview of, what is Fieldwire and how it can benefit you and your team for any of those that are, just getting used to the platform or starting new today. And then from there, diving into a demo showing you how you can utilize Fieldwire for service and smaller projects, and also property maintenance as well. And then we'll wrap it up with Q&A at the end. Like Dylan mentioned, if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to drop those in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. So going into, what is Fieldwire? Fieldwire was built to help the field and the office communicate together and collaborate together. Our goal is to help users manage their daily activities all within one platform. And so you can see, like on the screen, we do that in three main ways. The first way is just clear access to information with your plans and markups, and then also 3D models if you have that. You're never worrying about if the field has an outdated set of plans or drawings, and then they can communicate easily between the field and the office with any markups, photos, annotations, things like that on the plans as well. So everyone is up to date with communications and drawings throughout the life of the job. Secondly is through planning and managing work. So this is actually a big part of what we're going to go through today is our task management tool within Fieldwire, but this allows you to easily message within a task, also create checklists for items that have multiple steps to be done, like for those to be done accordingly, and check those off throughout the life of the project and really know where that piece of equipment or type of work that needs to be installed is throughout the life of the job. And then lastly, just reporting on progress. So you can create custom forms within Fieldwire, such as daily reports, inspections, site safety walks, things like that. That allows you to, really report on your progress, include photos, signatures, and communicate that out to internal and external stakeholders. But then also you're taking photos, videos throughout the life of the job and having that all in one place within Fieldwire. So before we get into the demo and all of that, just had a quick poll question on what current plan you're on within Fieldwire. Great, thanks everyone for that. So just hopping into kind of overall on the demo aspect, at a high level, you understand how Fieldwire can help construction teams. So today we're really going to dive into how it can be formatted to fit service or small project needs. So I think oftentimes users typically view Fieldwire as being, for larger projects, whether that be in terms of cost or duration, and that may be handling, smaller projects, service tickets or service calls, things like that. Within Fieldwire could be really cumbersome or more time than it's worth. Today, I want to show you that that's actually not the case. So I'm going to open up Fieldwire on the web and start going through the service project there. But before we do that, just another quick poll to understand if you all have current service departments, maintenance departments, and things like that. Awesome. So going into Fieldwire on the web, instead of creating a project for each service or maintenance call or maintenance work in general. We're going to handle that all within one project by utilizing tasks. So like I mentioned before, this can save a lot of time on the administrative side. You're not having to worry about creating a project each time for each ticket. It's all housed within one project under tasks. So here you can see, I'm on the tasks tab for this service work. And you can quickly see, all of the tasks that are associated with our service department. So each one of these tasks is a ticket that's been called in, to our office. And you can see on this left-hand side of the screen that we have set up the categories for our different crew members in our service department. One thing too, everything that I'm showing you today in regards to like categories, statuses, custom task attributes, things like that, they can all be customizable to fit you and your team's needs. So think of like, what I'm showing you today is kind of like a blank slate and a jumping board to fit your progress or your process specifically. So we have our categories set up as our various crew members. Statuses, you can see here, new request, scheduled and assigned, in progress, completed, and then closed. Really, that's following the life of the ticket, when it gets called in to when it's been closed out and completed. So in this instance, we are an electrical subcontractor that has a service department, and we just get calls into our office. We have an admin that handles, calls coming in. So in this instance, we get a call from the city, public works department that some of their offices are having issues with their lighting. So we're just going to create a task here, enter that title as the, project address. So 120 Main Street, like works offices. And the beauty of tasks is that there's a lot of information that you can track and communicate on all within one set task. So all within this ticket here, you can, communicate with photos, work that's being performed throughout the life of the ticket, as well as other items that I'm going to get into now. So first off, on this left-hand side, you do have the option to add checklists, whether that be, one item at a time, or actually create checklist templates. So I know a lot of times for service tickets, there's certain things that you want done from your crew members each time before, like from them getting on site to complete the work to them turning it over to the client. There's standard things, no matter the type of the ticket. So that can be easily added as a checklist item. So here I've already created, work order checklist and creating that in here. That's something that, an admin or front office person, if you have them for your service department, can easily do and add that on there. Also, any messages associated with the service call, say you get further information from who called in, so offices in rooms 100, 120 need electrical, work or electrical lighting is flickering. Whatever it may be in terms of context on the ticket that you want the tech to know can be included in the messages up front when you're creating the ticket. And from there, you can see, it's already in the new request status under category. here's where the value of having your different crew members under category comes to play. So instead of your front office getting the ticket and then just randomly assigning it out to someone, you can easily see on here on the task tab of each worker's load that they have currently. Off to the side here, you can see, okay, Billy has 3 tickets, and click into those and see, where in the process those tickets are. So he actually, in all instances, just has 1 ticket. His other ones have been completed. So that's great for just noting and man loading accordingly. Another thing too with having the categories as the different crew members is, maybe you have, in this instance, like Parker does all of your city work or works with all the schools, things like that. So you can have that within here as well. So we're going to go ahead, assign this out to Parker under the category, and then also the assignee field as well. The beauty with tasks and forms and other information on the project is, as soon as he's getting assigned that work, he's going to get a push notification on his device for that work specifically. So he's going to know, okay, I have a new ticket that's come in. Other things that can be tracked on this kind of right-hand side of the screen for task attributes are locations. So, for your service work, say that you work with the city that you're based in or cities that you're based in pretty often, or you work with, the school district in that area often for your service tickets. You could set them up and manage them as locations, which is a great way to, one, just easily provide more data on that ticket, but then also you can utilize that for reports, which we'll get into in a little bit of, say, hey, we want to just pull what open tickets we have with the school department or a couple different offices within town that are under, one business. Things like that can be set up as locations. Super easy to manage them. And they have different tiers as well. So here you can see, with the city of San Antonio, we've got a couple different locations set up within that as well. And it's super easy to just import locations or easily add a new kind of layer to locations within here as well. You can also add, start and end dates. So say we know that we need to complete this ticket or Parker needs to complete this ticket by this Friday. That can be added and tracked as well. And then lastly, there's an option under our business plan for custom task attributes. So like the name suggests, they are customizable. So any data that you want to include within the ticket, maybe that be actual manpower and a number associated. Maybe that's a work order number that you have, or payment status as well, if you want to keep your accounting team up to speed of if the tickets have been paid or not, and where that is. You could have a list drop down within custom task attributes as well. So say we know, hey, this work order is 225, we can add that in there, and any changes that we make off to this right hand side are also getting updated in the task messages. Here for the custom task attributes, you can go to this gear wheel and add custom attributes as needed. Toggle on and off, maybe ones that you don't want to see, and then reorder them as well. So you have some flexibility there of how you want this right hand side of the screen on the task window to look. So we've got our, basic information about the ticket. The last thing that the office or admin side is going to do before they send this off to Parker is actually attach a form. So we'll get into forms more on actually the iPad and Parker's view, but forms are great for, like I mentioned before, they're custom. So maybe you already have a paper form that you're utilizing currently for your service work that can easily be translated into Fieldwire and utilized and tracked within that ticket task as well. So for this instance, we're just going to attach this existing work order form that the front office has filled out kind of the main information on before we send it off to Parker. So he's been assigned this, and in this instance, we're going to move it from new request to, okay, now it's been scheduled and assigned out. From this point, we'll say, hey, Parker, this needs to be done ASAP. Add that in, assign it to Parker, and then we're actually going to switch to the iPad view so everyone can see how easy it is to update the ticket and provide any information from Parker's point of view as he's doing the work. So here, this is our iPad view going into Fieldwire for service work. We can actually go into Parker's tasks, and here you can see that new ticket that he's gotten here for these offices. Going into that task too, Parker can also do it from the notification bell icon in the upper left-hand corner and hop in, straight into that task as well. So here you can see, that checklist is included here. That information has also been added for communication. Here he can, make notes along the way, as well as take photos, but then also I'll find the existing form again, add that in here. And with this work order form, you can see, these are customizable once again, but this is great for the service aspect because it clearly documents his work as he's going along. He can take pictures as he's doing the work, but then also it's a great for, proof of completion and documenting, what equipment, what material he utilized as well. So you kind of have your basic customer information on the form, the issue that was expressed, any before photos can be added here. Once again, these forms are customizable. So what I'm showing today, you can edit within Fieldwire as well. Here as Parker, I can take existing or after photos of the work that I've done. So we're just going to add a couple within there. I can add a description of the work completed. Like I mentioned before, add any material or equipment entries on what was used. And then I can also add in my time as well. So I can come in here, list out my name, what date I worked, and how many hours. So we'll say this took 4 hours to complete. If it was regular time, OT, non-billable, things like that, add that in here. And then really the last part about forms is you can also require a signature line, which is great for that accountability aspect for service side of things. So I can come in here and I've signed off on this work. You can see that is time and date stamped as well. And then this last section is for the customer. So, scrolling back up to here, you can see, we've listed the contact of who had the service call. So Parker can go out, find Jeff, walk Jeff around, and basically get him to say, okay, this is done satisfactorily. Check yes or no on that. Obviously, if he does no, Parker can fix that right then and there. And then also have Jeff add his signature within here. Once again, that's time and date stamped too. So you have that, proof of completion along with the customer signing off, hey, this is good to go. Parker can then, update this form to submitted, click into that. That's included in that form. He's marking this as in progress as he goes. And then with these checklists too, he's saying, okay, yes, I've got this area tested if needed. I've got it cleaned. Everything's been inspected. The work order is completed and the work order is signed. So just checking off those things as he goes. Then he can add, a message back to the office or his supervisor. This is completed and ready to be billed. Posting that into the tasks section, he can then come in here under edit, change the assignee back to the office, his supervisor, whoever, and then update that status from in progress to completed, noting that was done. So we've got that all done on Parker's side. Now going back to the web application for those in the office. Here you can see, all of that information has been updated in real time within that task, within that ticket. Assignee is back to the individual in the office, and they can go through, review the form, see the signature, actually send it out to the customer straight from Fieldwire, or download it for their information, and then also come through and move that from the completed to closed status, update payment, any information there as well. So at a high level, that's really the service workflow within Fieldwire. The last part of that really kind of ties everything together for your service department in terms of communicating information out to either internal or external parties is the reporting functionality. So under generate reports, if I click into that, this allows you to create reports based on a lot of different filters. So if we go in to open tickets, you can see, we've filtered the task statuses down to just the scheduled and assigned and in progress work. This could also be used to create reports for all closed tickets and then maybe statuses where, we haven't been paid yet for those service tickets. This allows you to really kind of filter down, however you want to see those reports and communicate that information, whether it be internal or external. Like I said, if you're communicating to your accounting department, hey, this needs to be billed, or maybe the head of service that isn't in Fieldwire every day and they just want to see where the status is of tickets, or if it's like a customer that wants to see open tickets as well. That's where you can also include locations within those reports to filter down from that way. And then, off to this left-hand section, just tons of information that you can or don't want to include in a report, photos, checklists, messages like that. And then the beauty with the task reporting is that you do have an option to automate it. So if you did want to send out, an open ticket report every Monday morning, for instance, you could specify the recipients, schedule that for Monday, or whatever day you want, and Fieldwire will automatically email those out to your team, external stakeholders, whoever that is. Just to show you an example of what a report looks like. So this is our open ticket report that I mentioned. Here you can see, any information that's associated with the tickets, any messages, forms as well are included, within that task. So they're included in the report. If you want that to be an option, just clicking into that, it's a live link, so it can be downloaded as well. Same thing with photos, these are live too. So just a great way to tie in all your information on your different tasks in general. So that's the service workflow at a high level, and kind of walking through that process just to show you the flexibility of Fieldwire in general. Did want to show you a project that's set up for tracking more of property maintenance work. So flipping to that project, it's set up very similarly in that different pieces of equipment or work that you're doing is set up as a task. But in this instance, maybe you're a contractor that's been awarded maintenance work on to parking lots or parking garages, and the owner wants you to maintain all the lighting and all the security on those. So that's where you can also utilize plans to include maybe an aerial plan or a floor plan if you have it. And same thing as that service work. Here you can see that there's tasks associated in this instance with each light pole in this parking lot, and same as the service workflow project, all the categories are set up as the different maintenance crew members, so you can see who's responsible for what and their man load as well. Within here too, having plans, you can communicate any information that the rest of the team needs to know regarding that aerial plan or floor plan as well. We also have markup symbols, for security in different trades, so you can note the locations of the items that you're maintaining with that task as well. And going into the tasks tab here, if I went into all tasks, same thing, you're seeing that high level overview of all those pieces of equipment or work that you're maintaining throughout that life of that contract, and what status it's in, whether it's okay, it's in service, we just completed, maybe we check these things every 2 months. So we just went through, made sure that all these are working, running right. You may have a requires actions or, damages section of, maybe you get a call that, hey, the customer noted that this camera wasn't working. So that's included in that requires actions. Same thing here too, within a task, you can have that start and end date to note that, especially if you're doing property maintenance work, maybe you're every other month going in and checking everything, you can have that noted as a start and end date. And so, okay, upcoming, we've got this. Another thing with this as well is, tracking any custom attributes that you need here too. And then with the date in there, you can easily see, okay, hey, this is due today. I need to put guys on this, or this is overdue, in progress, whatever that entails. Same thing with service work that can be translated to maintenance in terms of like checklists. If you do have, typical things that you want to check each time that you're doing maintenance work, that can easily be added as a checklist and, marked off from that crew member as they do that work. And then lastly, you can have reports on this level as well to track, hey, here's what's upcoming. Hey, here are the, light poles that we have damage or issues on, and send that internally and externally as well. So as you can see, just in general, Fieldwire is more than just a tool for tracking larger projects through kind of a typical construction process. Within tasks, you have a lot of flexibility to track service work, maintenance work, smaller projects, and really pull what data you want to see within those tasks with checklists, with forms, and with custom task attributes as well. The sky's the limit to really like make it and the process fit within Fieldwire for you. So before we open it up for Q&A, just one last poll question on our end. Awesome,
Awesome.
thanks everyone.
Cool. Thanks, Anna Laura.
Yeah.
We are going to dive into our Q&A portion now. So first question for you, Hannah Laura, is can the work orders be created in a mass upload style from, say, an Excel file?
Yeah, definitely. So just flipping back to the web, I would say that this is definitely more applicable to like your property maintenance or maintenance workflow than service in terms of work orders, but you definitely can through our import tasks tool. So clicking into this, we do have an Excel template that you can basically mirrors this, and you can, put in all pieces of equipment or whatever work that you're going to be maintaining, have all that information in one place, and then just copy and paste into this import tool with the information that you already know. And Fieldwire will do the rest in creating all of those tasks.
Perfect. And do you have another question is, do you have any customers currently using any types of these workflows?
Yeah, we have several MEP subcontractors that are doing service work through Fieldwire. Also have a couple like utility or like gas oriented contractors also tracking like their service calls, from the gas companies within Fieldwire.
Awesome. Another one here, can I mark up photos and are photos geotagged and timestamped?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of marking up photos, you definitely can. Let me go in here to a task. So anytime that you add a photo to a task, say I'll do a couple here, you can see, when this was uploaded, also when it was linked, and then in this upper left-hand corner, similar to the plans, you have all of like markups that you're needed. You can also take measurements, um, you know, note any areas that need to be worked on or communicate from that way as well.
Perfect. How are we looking at time? Another question is, what's the best way of going about like customizing our own workflows on Fieldwire?
Yeah, great question. So we do have several like help center articles through our website that you can kind of understand, at a high level, um, task statuses, categories, things like that, um, as well as like our YouTube videos. Um, but we do have a team within Fieldwire that can like help you um, set up your workflows if that's something that you need further help with.
Awesome. Another one here, does Fieldwire have a simple call out tool similar to Bluebeam? By that they mean just like a markup capability within plans.
Yeah, so within plans, there's a lot of different like markup tools in terms of call outs. We do have just like a text box, um, and like you can add an arrow to it to point out the specific location that you need to. But in terms of like that being all in one tool, we don't have that at this time.
Great. And another one here, do you have a lot of architects that use this for site walks or punch list?
Yeah, great question. I believe that we do. I don't have any architectural clients because I'm on the subcontracting side of our success team, but yes, they definitely are utilizing that.
Yeah, I would confirm that. That's definitely punch list and issue tracking is definitely a common use case within Fieldwire for both subcontractors, GCs, and definitely quite a few architects. Awesome. Let's see. So how easy is it to import files and information into Fieldwire?
I would say it's super easy in terms of, adding files or photos, any information that's needed for, the service workflow or just Fieldwire in general. Um, we do have sync capabilities with Box, Dropbox, and OneDrive, but it's also, super easy to just add a new file straight from your computer and drag and drop those files in.
Perfect. And then another one here, is there an option to download information into like an Excel file where the system will basically just download all the information that you showed into an Excel file, I think is the question.
Yeah, great question. So within these generate reports that I mentioned, what I showed was a PDF report, but you do actually have an option to do a summary PDF or a CSV file. So all of that information can be downloaded into a CSV and manipulated in Excel as well.
Perfect. Let's see. I've seen this question pop up a couple of different times, so I'll just answer it. The question is will a copy of this recording be available after the webinar? And yes, everyone that either attended or registered will be emailed a copy of the webinar, as well as it will be available on our website, on our on-demand section. So if you guys need to reference that at all, it will be sent to you. Let's see. I have another question here. Do any roofers use this service? Do you have any roofer subcontractors, Hannah?
That use it for service? No, I don't.
But I think that's definitely not unrealistic to think that a roofer could, manipulate that workflow to make it work for them for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, let's see, one last question here. Is it possible to create a project schedule within Fieldwire?
Yeah, great question. So what I showed today was like the kind of main Kanban view is what we call it on the tasks tab. But there is an option to view it based off of the calendar and the start and end date, as well as a Gantt chart with manpower if you like want to include that within the task attribute. So yes, definitely can kind of build out a quick schedule and look ahead within Fieldwire, and you do have the option to filter as well as download that out to send to other members of your team.
Yeah, and like Hannah-Laura mentioned, uh, Fieldwire is really great for those like look aheads. So you can kind of filter out for how many weeks you want to look ahead, but like for those 2-3 week look aheads, it's really useful because you can actually see the work that's going to be completed and then make like adjustments and manipulate that data accordingly. Cool. I think we are at time here, but for any questions that we didn't get to, like we said before, we'll have one of our experts reach out to you directly to answer those. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining today. And again, you'll have a copy of the recording and slide deck will be sent to you either tomorrow or the next day. And just want to thank everybody for joining today.
Yeah, thank you all.
Bye.